Michael K is like our first shot of the telecast. Off we go, and a first pitch swing is strike number 1. That was an early appearance by Michael. 0-1 on the ground to shortstop, and Isaiah Kiner-Falefa handles the first out of the ball game.
Natural center fielder that just looks like a right fielder.
So Jack, here's Spencer Torkelson.
Player to see his mental approach to the game. Whether he has a good day or a bad day, he has been the same. Also has been pitched to extremely well. He's one of those guys that had bad luck. Every single borderline pitch
of how to scout pitchers and his level-headedness, and that's something A.J. Hinch mentioned. As you see that,
prove it to yourself, even if you're a #1 pick and a high prospect.
Good conversation, John, and I think old names, and you can call mom and dad and say, you know what, I belong here. I just got a hit off of Johnny or Billy or a big power hitter. It was in Chicago.
Torkelson to right center. Judge coming on. 2 down. Yeah, pitch at risk to.
Coming around first base, going to second. The home plate umpire said, Jack Morris, that's Carl Yastrzemski. He's 1 foot away from the all. Say those things that we used to say to them too. You know, doesn't happen anymore.
Ready as Scope was climbing back in the box. 0-2 on the ground to third. It's LeMahieu across the diamond for a 1-2-3 inning for a Yankees
position, but he has always had great hand-eye coordination.
You know, it's amazing the longevity.
You're bringing back some bad memories because the first time I saw Cabrera was the World Series right field with all that power and letting the breaking ball travel. Unusual to see a young hitter that advanced.
Home runs. 0-2 from Montgomery, and it's down low. I mean, we all had
slider knowing he was going to get it later in the game in a big spot. And now the challenge.
Right?
Do it again?
I don't know. I'm not going to look at you and.
Well,
it is right there.
Maybe he was looking at where the ball was going to end up.
You know what's funny is I've seen a lot of his, well, almost all of his milestones that were, you know, he admitted the home runs was a big deal for him because he hasn't hit a lot of home runs. Are going to come, and he's well beyond the 3,000 now.
There's a strike on the.
Trying to pull everything, and everybody's pitching him away. Even left-handers. Zone, even out of the zone up, but not so much down at the bottom of the zone. There we go.
A change up down.
Yeah, he called him
There's a swing and miss. Strike 3 on the sinker. There's a 2-seamer you were talking.
It's a great pitch for a pitcher, but when it's in the middle of that box, and I mean middle of that strike zone,
basically a historic rate on strikes, on fat part of the strike zone strikes. 1-1 to Candelario. Cabrera at first, 1 out, and 1-2 throughout today's.
You're back down in the field how hard this game is, and he couldn't be further from the truth.
On it as a teammate or as a manager.
On the ground, back to Montgomery. He spins it to second, gets one there, and the.
Buxton ran down early in the game, and then he pulled it a little bit more towards the alley. And
old man, right?
Yeah.
Could run it down in the outfield with the best of them.
That was called high.
Wing, and to be honest with you, as a catcher behind the plate, we're guessing as well.
This to left field. Hicks isn't going to get there, and that drops and rolls to the warning track. Candelario to third. Cameron has it.
It's as predicted. You know, he's a guy that changes speeds well. He uses the breaking pitch to his advantage.
To wear on you as a starting pitcher.
I think there's a mindset, John, because my guys are going to get me some runs too. Today's pitchers.
And fouled away 2-2, and Jack 2-2 from Montgomery. Inside corner. Spencer Torkelson to bat here in the third.
Absolutely. You know, your teammates in the dugout and you're competing on the field.
Gallo catch, 1 down.
And I think, Jack, you go back to what do I do well, right? And what am I doing well today to have? I didn't know what I had at 11 o'clock before this game, but after my warm-ups I do. And
Jimmy Key, when we were teammates in Toronto together, we would sit side by side almost every played. And the way he taught me And the way I taught him were, a lot of arguments, but yet he knew what he had to do and I knew what I had to do.
Is that what he did?
About himself? Yeah. I like that game.
Well, you're picking guys that you don't do all that well.
Those pesky researchers get in the way, don't they?
Darn.
Decided to put in the 2 spot in the order, in part with a left-hander on the mound and in part just to change things up.
Games in a row, he had a different lineup almost the whole season. It's kind of been the same story this year. Remember what I told you?
Throwing in the kitchen sink here with 4 pitches. There's a curveball, 3-2.
When that guy doesn't hardly ever have to move, that pitcher is in command, in control.
How about that?
Just like that.
That DJ May was seeing it in front of him.
Other side of it, Jordan Montgomery got out of trouble in the second.
On the inner half with his fastball and his cutter, and mixing in his curve and changeup and kind of keeping him guessing a little bit.
Sinker has really been the weapon so far that he feels the most comfort with. Another one there.
Rizzo at first. Tough peg. Montgomery gets over and gets the out. Beating the pitcher on a play like that.
I think it's the easier question, who is the worst, and I don't even know. In spring training too, all the PFP that pitchers take is because that same first baseman's out there trying to lead you and hit there. That's the whole key for the pitcher.
How do you do that? How do you get under control on a play like that?
And then wait for that throw. I think it's just practice. That's why we do it so much in spring training. Every
2-2. It's down and in. 3 balls and
Careers and Jack did.
Right.
3-2, and that's ball 4. Cabrera
Baseball and do it as long as you want. And Miggy's been like that his whole career. Has a lot of
demons in your mind going on when you don't get off to the start that you want to with a new club.
Yeah.
Jack, you can talk.
Now he's still been that solid defensive player. That's one thing he hasn't. There we go.
into left center field, up the alleyway, and rolling all the way to the warning track. Cabrera's around third. Let's see those 39-year-old legs. Throw to the plate is cut off, and it's a
sure bet Hall of Famer, right? And his biggest issue is the fact he can't move.
You see the 10-9 when the opponent scores first. The Yankees don't lose much in any situation. I just love watching Miguel Cabrera.
They're winning ways and the leadership in so many different ways from players, but that attitude to have fun, just prepare to go about their business before the first pitch was thrown, went a long way for me.
And 2 here to Castro. Second base, Gleyber Torres for out number 2, and just thinking about how young that roster is, to your point.
Marlins. But he knows what he has to do.
Off the mound, second base, and kicking off at Torres to bring in a second run here in the 4th inning for the Tigers. Wave and a miss for a strike to Eric.
He had 1, 2, 3 innings in the 1st and 3rd, but second here in the 4th, a little different story.
0-2, and that's strike 3.
2-game season, you're going to have your good weeks and your bad weeks.
Well, it's amazing too. I think we all sort of got.
For us guys that have been around it a long time, it's amazing how quickly it can fly by.
Quickly started descending, and you realize in order to be a big leaguer and play 6 months and hopefully into the post.
Wonderful. This is my lifelong dream. Then all of a sudden reality sets in, and they're trying to figure out how to survive in the big leagues, right? And then you go through another stage to make this team a postseason. I want to play in the postseason. And for me, it was a transformation about a young team.
Nice play by Trevino there for out number 1.
Team in New York my last 3 years where you can contribute maybe once a week, and that was.
And we got it handed to us pretty good, especially here in New York, Boston.
To first, and Rizzo on a hop for out number 2. Hey, suit up this summer at MLB.
Well, again, some of these guys have to learn the last phase of their baseball career. Did this in Detroit a little while ago. Had some of the kid pitchers.
How about 36 home runs? I bet you all had that guy in Little League that you said, oh, I don't want to face that guy. Sure. The name just goes around the block.
You enjoyed that way too much. Way too much.
Have you done wrestling? Because you could be the all-time greatest, with your.
you were in a cage match situation, what one teammate would you choose? The tag team situation.
I'll
Cage
take Gibby.
match.
I'll
Gibby?
take Gibby.
This is in the air for right center field, and a long run for Judge. And duck, Joey.
Gallo in this case.
One down.
So if Jack is going to take
Gibby.
So I'm going Jorge Posada.
Okay. Why?
That's interesting. Fellow catcher.
Over first, base hit for Miguel Cabrera. Hey, look, Miguel Cabrera's got a hit to right, Jack. You shocked for Baez. John, I just wondered growing up around here what it was.
A different animal, but I played once every week, and I wanted to try to win a World Series, and this was the best place to do it.
LeMahieu, Torres, nice catch, and the turn is there somehow. To 2. Harold Castro leads off and swings through.
For him, 89 pitches, but making his way into the 7th inning. And CC Sabathia to stay in this game all the way through the 7th.
Yeah, he'll have to stay through the 7th and hope his team scores. Records a strikeout there of Harold Castro.
And that'll do it.